Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus, and welcome to Classy Movie Rambles, where I talk about old movies that I found in my closet while cleaning. This week's movie is Alien Resurrection. It was made in 1997, and it's about 1 hour and 48 minutes long. And the movie starts with an intercredit sequence showing all the failed clones of Ripley, because in the third movie, the one before this, Ripley sacrificed herself to save mankind from an alien infestation, and so in this movie they made a cop-out. They basically somehow cloned her before she died, and now we're on this spaceship called the USM Arugio, and they are cloning her. They basically clone Ripley, and they are extracting an alien queen out of her chest. And then she gets to sleep naked in a cell, and she has this tattoo on her arm, the clone with the 8 on it. So she's the 8th clone of Ripley, basically. And later she gets a physical, and she strangles the doctor. And it's kind of this weird thing, because her DNA has been mixed up with the aliens, so she has all these brutal kind of instincts and things that the alien has, and she's really weird, and it's a really interesting way that Sigourney Weaver plays Ripley in this movie. So anyway, later they have some more examinations around tests on her, and there's like this weird thing about the space station. They have this security system that's based on breath. So every time you need to open a door, you need to breathe on a thing. So they have these keys with like spray on it, authentication codes, like really weird, but it's the future, whatever. So later, one of the doctor eats dinner with Ripley, and she basically feels that the alien queen is alive because she's part alien now. And she also feels the alien's presence. And then the Betty crew arrives in their ship, and they are some sort of smugglers, or I don't know, basically mercs or something. So their crew play tricks on each other on and off. And there's this guy that repairs things. I think he's a mechanic, and he is paralyzed from the waist down, so he sits in a wheelchair. One of the other crewmates throws a knife, and it gets stuck in his leg, and he doesn't feel it. So this like weird kind of dark kind of humor thing. But anyway, the crew smuggles on weapon onto the Arugia, and this is kind of a stupid thing, because if there gets holes in the hole, there's a vacuum out in space that will drag everything out. So I don't know why. Maybe they brought it in for protection or whatever. But they also bring with them a cryo-frozen people that they somehow got on the way. So the Arugia personnel is going to use these people to be hosts for the aliens, the facehuggers. So the Betty crew walks in on Ripley playing basketball, and she basically toys with them and beats them up, and she throws the basketball kind of backwards and goes into the hoop, like all the way from the other side of the fucking playing field. It's kind of a cool scene. And she also starts to bleed from her nose, and the blood is corrosive, so she definitely has alien blood in her, because in the previous movies it's like the alien's defense mechanism. It bleeds acid, so it's like if you shoot the alien, fine, but then you probably get acid all over your face. So she has this weird kind of alien reflexes, as I said. And then a doctor checks out the newly bred aliens, because now the process has gone through, and these aliens have grown real fast, and they have like this kind of system like with coolant, because the aliens can't take fire and ice, I guess. So they have this kind of button system where they press it, they spray the aliens with some kind of nitrogen, I guess, something cold. But the alien kind of learns about it. He understands that it kind of messes with the doctor, but then the doctor uses the button, and it learns like that, like I'm not supposed to do that. So Carl, one of the Betty crewmates, goes to see Ripley, and she has a hidden agenda. She is supposed to kill the alien queen, so she gets into Ripley's cell unintended, and she realized that the alien queen is no longer inside of Ripley, and Ripley talks to her, and she puts the knife that Carl had in her hand into her own, like cutting through the palm, and it's revealed that she doesn't kind of feel it even. It's kind of a weird situation. And then Carl leaves and gets caught by the military, and the Betty crew opens fire on the military, killing them. And then one of the aliens escape from the cell. There's I think there's three aliens in one of the cells, and they kill one of one of their own, so their acid blood kind of makes a hole in the floor so they can escape. So now the aliens are escaping their cells. So what happens now is the military starts to evacuate, and Ripley escapes her cell. She also uses her corrosive blood to short-wire some circuits, I guess. And then the Betty crew roams the abandoned ship, and then the Betty's captain gets killed, and then an alien kind of approached them, and Ripley takes care of it. She just kills it because it's in her way or something. And there's a doctor, and they kind of ask him, they pick him up along the way, one of these site doctors, and he says there's like, well, he killed one, now there's like 12 left of them. So this is kind of dark humor, like there are aliens running around anywhere and they're not safe, so they need to get to the Betty basically, and that's their whole plan. So Ripley, this is a funny scene where Ripley kind of reaches into the dead alien's mouth and pulls out its tongue and gives it to Cole, and you can take this as a souvenir, right? And it's like this floppy kind of gross kind of thing, but it's kind of a funny scene. And then they kind of left this wheelchair guy behind because he was in a wheelchair, and he surprised him by arriving in the one of those elevators. And it's a funny scene where they open up they have all their guns like pointed towards him, and he kind of comes out of the elevator and he says like, well, who did you expect, like Santa Claus or something? And I thought it was kind of funny. Yeah. So the whole point for them is to make it to the Betty now. But the ship is also moving. Ripley kind of feels it, and it's kind of the security protocol. I don't know why. If something goes wrong with the facility, it starts to head to Earth, and bringing 12 aliens to Earth is not a good idea. So what happens is they are on the way to the Betty, right? And Ripley finds the failed clones facility of all the other clones from 1 to 7. And the 7th one is actually fairly alive, but it's kind of deformed, and the clone kind of says like, please kill me. And Ripley gets out a flamethrower, and he or she destroys the whole lab with all the clones and everything. So on the way to the Betty, they find one of the alien hosts alive, and Ripley informs him that he has one of the aliens inside of him. So there is a way to save him. If you get to the Betty, they can put him in a cryo tank, and they can safely remove the alien from him. So, but in order to get to the Betty, they have to go through the cooling tanks, and they're flooded with water. So they have to swim through the kitchen area. So they do that, and they get attacked by 2 aliens, and John, or one of them, kind of kills one of them off, and then one of the girls gets caught and killed. And I think she has a real phobia of water too, so she's panicking. So they reach this kind of mesh kind of area, like a net, and they break it through it, and they realize it's like an alien hive full of facehuggers and eggs. So what happens is that Ripley gets a facehugger on her face, and she kind of gets down underwater, and Christy uses a grenade to blow up everything, like 2 grenades, I think. He blows up the eggs, and they start up to climb. And what happens is they try to get to the top, and Carl is up top with the bad evil doctor, and he asks her for a gun, and of course she gives him his gun, or her gun, and the doctor shoots her in the stomach, and she falls down into the water. And the doctor escapes through this door and shuts it behind him. And while this is happening, the last alien, I think, Ripley gets a facehugger on the face, I think I said that, and the alien jumps out of the water and grabs the feet of Christy. So Christy at this point has the wheelchair guy on his back because he can't swim, and there's no use of bringing a wheelchair on through the water maze or whatever. So what happens is that there's a twist and flip, and now the wheelchair guy is holding both Christy's weight and the alien's weight, and Johnner kind of shoots the alien, kills it, but it's still hanging on to Christy's legs. So Christy, this big bad guy, this cool guy, badass guy, he sacrificed himself by cutting off the rope or whatever around his waist from his backpack, like a strap, and he falls down into the alien water hole. And then what happens is they try to get up and escape, and Cole opens the door, and they realize that she is an android because no one can survive that. So she was basically on this mission all along. And then the bad doctor tries to escape to the Betty by himself, but Cole connects herself to the network of the artificial intelligence of the Arugia, and she closes the door and directs the aliens to his present, basically. And then Ripley and Carl talk, and Ripley feels they're on the way to the ship, and Ripley feels that the alien queen is in pain, and she falls down a hatch into the alien nest. And the crew reaches the Betty, but the bad doctor is there, and he puts a gun to Carl's face or to her head. But then the guy with the host has like the alien inside of him trying to breach through his chest, so he basically charged the doctor in one last attempt, and he basically, this is a kind of a gruesome scene. He holds like the doctor's face to his own chest, and the alien bursts through his head, and it's kind of a gory, bloody scene, and the crew kind of opens fire on both of them, killing them instantly. And due to the fact that Ripley is kind of spliced with the human DNA and vice versa, the alien queen is in pain because she is going into labor. Normally the alien queen lays eggs, but now there's just one big egg it's kind of a cool effect, because most of this movie is kind of like one of those cool effects, like it's practical. So the alien queen has this huge stomach, and this hybrid kind of gets out of it. Like it's really weird, more disgusting than anything I've actually seen in a while. And the alien hybrid that comes out kind of kills his mother, and it kind of thinks that Ripley is his mother. So there's this weird scene, and Ripley tries to escape from it, and she gets on the Betty, she leaps onto it, and then somehow the alien hybrid gets on board, and Carl is supposed to go down to shut a hatch because it's open, and she gets confronted by the hybrid, and then one of the soldiers goes down to check on Carl, he gets killed, and then Ripley goes down there and sees what's going on, and she calms the hybrid down, and she uses the blood, the acid blood, because now they're out in space trying to escape from the Arugia. She uses the blood from her palm because she cuts herself on one of the hybrid's teeth, I think, and she throws the blood on a small window, and what happens is the hybrid kind of gets sucked out of the airlock, or this kind of painful, weird scene where the alien hybrid screams no, and it's like this heart-tearing, kind of scary and weird moment at the same time. And then the Arugia crash onto Earth because that was the destination. They couldn't actually blow the thing up because they didn't have enough power, so instead of crashing into Earth. That solves everything. But anyway, the aliens kind of die, so that was the point. And then the Betty ship goes through the atmosphere, and Carl and Ripley sees the Earth for the first time, and it's beautiful. But they've been told throughout the movie that Earth is like a really shitty place, and you don't really want to go there. So now there's like all these opportunities, and that's the end of the movie. So what do I think about Alien Resurrection? It's a movie that's... a lot of people talk bad and shit about this movie, but I think it's actually kind of fine. It has a lot of cool practical effects, and in 1997, it was a good movie. But if you look at the CG graphics, it's not really good. You can actually, in the old kind of movies when you use CG, you kind of see like everything look a little bit plasticky, so you can kind of tell what's practical effects are really awesome, like the alien goo and the alien kind of faces, close-ups and everything. But when an alien is climbing a ladder or like crawling somewhere, okay, that's CG. You can see it's a little bit weird and plasticky. And for instance, when the aliens swim, you kind of say like, oh no, I don't like that at all. But I mean, if it's on TV or something, and if you got nothing better to do, have a couple of beers and popcorn, give it a watch. I mean, if you watch it just as an action movie and haven't seen any of the other movies, it's fine too, because it's not really that connected to the other movies. Just the alien and Ripley, I guess. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.